If you're going to lead a retreat, you'll need to prepare effectively. This video will tell you everything that you need to do to get ready to lead a retreat. When you're preparing to lead a retreat, there are 4 core areas that you need to look at so that you make sure that your retreat runs smoothly, effectively, and that it delivers the results that you promised. So the first thing that you want to look at is the most obvious, the thing that people immediately think about when they're creating an event or retreat, which is, what are you going to do? What's the content of the retreat? And so I'm going to start there. When you're deciding what to do in the retreat, and I have a few other videos about this that you can click on and link to. I have a whole playlist for retreats. So I invite you to check some of those out where I go deeper into this topic. But just at a surface level, you want to think about who's going to be at the retreat. What do they need? What are they expecting? What are you going to provide in order to deliver the transformation that they want? So when you're looking at content preparation and you're clear about who your audience is, what I recommend doing is taking each day and looking at it as a journey. Starting with day 1, where are people starting out? And by the end of your retreat, let's call it day 5, where do they need to end up? What is the journey that you're going to take them on to go from here to here? And then what I recommend doing is outlining it day by day in segments. One thing I want to invite you to consider is to leave open space. In every retreat that I've ever run, we have needed open space. Now, open space for people to integrate, for people to receive the experience and really synthesize and process it, but also open space because unexpected stuff happens all the time. So don't pack your content agenda every single day fully tightly packed. Definitely leave yourself some room to maneuver. The second thing you'll want to prepare is the clients themselves, the people who will be attending this retreat, the participants. Before the retreat, you'll want to know, what do they need to bring? What do they need to pack? Do they need a bathing suit? Do they need hiking shoes? Do they need a water bottle, a backpack? Whatever it is they need to bring, you'll want to communicate that to them. And also communicate to them what they need to do to be mentally and emotionally prepared for the retreat. The third thing for preparing for a retreat is to think about the logistics. Now, this is the part where most people get all caught up and they focus primarily on logistics. And definitely the logistics piece is highly important. And also remember that it's really what supports people in getting the outcome and the result. What I often find with people putting together retreats is that they get so caught up in the logistics and the food and the venue and the location and the arrivals and departures and all those logistical things that they forget to leave room for magic in the content of their retreat. The logistics are important, but they're not what's going to make or break people having the transformation. We've had power outages. We've had food that's gone spoiled. We've had any number of crazy experiences that have interfered with our plan and still delivered a magical retreat experience. And what that comes from, in my opinion, is setting yourself up at the beginning for any eventuality. So one of the conversations we have early on at every single retreat is what happens when things go wrong. So we don't pretend that things are going to be perfect. We definitely don't plan for things to be perfect. In fact, we prepare ourselves and our participants for imperfect situations and for having to roll with it every once in a while. So again, while the logistics are important, you got to plan for them. Imagine that some things are going to go wrong. Now, some of the things you'll need to think about in terms of logistics is, where are people going to sleep? Where are you going to run specific activities and exercises? What are people going to eat? Is someone going to come in and cook for you? Are you going to order food in? Are you going to make it part of the retreat experience for people to cook together? Right? So there are a lot of ways that you can harness the value of the group, harness the skills and the gifts and the talents of the group to support your retreat experience. So the last thing to think about, and the one that I used to think about the least, but which I actually think now is the most important part of preparing for a retreat, is you. Getting yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically ready to lead. So what that looks like for me, for example, is I'm really good about my morning meditation practice in the couple of weeks leading up to the retreat. Each morning after I do my morning practice, I do a lot of journaling around what I'm feeling is going to be beneficial or necessary for the retreat. So I open up my creative juices in the couple of weeks leading up to the event, because as I get closer to the event, I find that I'm more dialed into what the event needs and wants and what my clients need and want. So I leave that last 2 weeks before any big retreat a little bit open and give myself a lot of space and time to cultivate the creative juices that are flowing. For whatever reason, and you might be different, I find that 2 or 3 months out from a retreat, I'm not as connected to it. I don't feel as creative around it. I start getting creative as I get closer to it. So I leave myself room for that. And one of the things that I do that you may or may not agree with is that I don't give too much information to the participants before they come. I give them logistics information, packing information, timelines, but I don't tell them what we're going to do each day. I don't give them a play-by-play. Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to go on a hike, and then we're going to do this yoga thing, and then I've got this hypnotist. I don't divulge any of that. I give a theme, and I give an outcome of what people are going to get, and then I keep the specifics of it to myself, which gives me room and space to play with it all the way leading up to the retreat, and even sometimes on site at the retreat. There are times when I've thrown something out the window and said, we're not doing that. Or sometimes where I've seen something, I'm like, oh, we're going to do that. So give yourself room to be flexible and play. If you want to learn how to run your retreats more effectively, more joyfully, and more profitably, then download my Retreats to Riches Roadmap. It's free, and you can get it at retreatstorichesroadmap.com. Enjoy.